Hello, I'm Archie Luxury and welcome to another episode of Viewer Emails. And this is the episode in February 2013. And let's dive straight into the mailbag there. Let's dive straight in there. Okay, first viewer email is from Patrick Knott. And it goes, "Hi there. I'm hoping you can provide some advice and help. I am looking into purchasing an Omega Speedmaster Professional and would like some advice on how to spot a fake and what to look out for. Additionally, what are better years for the Speedmaster? I understand that the original 321 movement is the best. Is this true? Any further advice would be greatly appreciated. Thanks in advance, Pat." And I gotta say, look, as far as telling a genuine from a fake there's so many things to look for, and I'll actually be putting a video together about that. But basically, look, if you want to know if the piece is genuine or not, you gotta buy the seller. You buy the seller first, then you buy the watch. If the seller's honest, hey. If you're looking around for those cheap nickel and dime super bargains, you're probably going to get a fake. Look, as far as it goes there, what's the best Speedmaster? Look, the early ones. Now, the really first one that came out was actually smaller than 40 mils. The case, I think, was 38 or 39 mils. They're worth a lot of money. That's the first year the Speedmaster came out in the 50s. Impossible to get, huge money. But then there's the 321s, that's the original movement, but the 40 mil case. And they're quite a good buy. They're quite good buys. The 321s are very good. That's probably the best. That's considered the better movement. But the movement that replaced that was an 861, and it's basically a 321 with a few little mods done to it. So, you know, it's not a terrible movement. The aficionados love the 321. But the 861 movement is great, and the wonderful thing about the Speedmaster is they really haven't messed with it. It's stayed true to form for so long. What I'd recommend is get one which is plastic. Don't get this new sapphire ones or the sandwich or this or that. Stick to tradition. Get a 1861 or an 861 movement based piece and you'll be happy. That's the answer. Get a nice one. Get it from a dealer like Brisbane Vintage Watches or Sydney Vintage Watches and you'll be happy. You try and get one on the cheap and hey, you'll get a fucking made up piece of shit. But that's my recommendation. And remember, always get one that has got some service history, because to service a chronograph could easily be a couple $100. And, you know, if there's problems, you're looking at parts, and they're not always cheap to get. So that's my advice. I'd stick with tradition. Personally, I'd look for, you know, one that's about, 5 to 10 years old. It's got some, hopefully box and papers, and it's going to be a great piece. That's what I'd be buying, and they're good on the second-hand market. Okay, next viewer email. This comes from CT. "Hi Archie, just saw some more videos. I think you are doing, I think what you're doing with these vintage pieces is absolutely wonderful. I know you collect modern pieces, and I realize that this is where one finds the best values, but the watch reviews on the plastic Rolexes and other vintage pieces have brought a new dimension to the channel that broadens its scope while at the same time remaining close to what the channel has always been about. The reviews themselves have always been consistently excellent. Combining this type of programming with Archie's more far-ranging material seems to keep the corpus of the recent work both focused and fresh, and thereby very well balanced. Keep the good videos coming, Chris." Thank you so much, Chris, for your support. That means a lot to me. Okay, next viewer email. And this here is from Alessia Di Petro. Okay. "Hi Archie, I'm a 16-year-old boy and want to get my first really good watch, I have $1,000 to spend and want to buy something that will look good, really good on my wrist. Any suggestions? By the way, your channel has changed my view on watches, and really believe you are the man to go to about them, and anyone who says otherwise knows nothing about good watchmaking. Okay, $1,000 to spend, 16-year-old boy. That's a good stash of money there. And look, I'm going to give you advice. This is advice for a 16-year-old boy. What would I buy if I had $1,000? I would probably buy one of the following: an Omega Speedmaster automatic. That's right, the automatic. It's a little bit smaller. The case is smaller than the Man on the Moon manual wind. And I've always kind of criticized the automatic one, but if you're a 16-year-old kid, that's not a bad piece to get. It's an automatic chronograph. It's very useful, very good watch. It's not waterproof, so don't take it in the pool. Please take it off if you're going to go swimming. But it's a fantastic buy. The other piece I would look at if I was a 16-year-old kid with $1,000 to spend, I'd be looking at some of the earlier Breitling Super Oceans. Now, I know they've got an ETA movement, but we're talking $1,000 and you want a watch for a 16-year-old kid. I'm not going to recommend a sensitive dress watch. You want something that's going to go through the next 10 years of your life phase. And I'd really say a Breitling Super Ocean, they can be had. I recently sold one, and I sold it for about $1,150. And that was quite a nice one. So I mean, look, the Breitling Super Oceans, they're cool. $1,000 will get you one. I think you've got to stay in sports. You're 16-year-old. You want something to go through the next 10-year life phase. Omega Speedmaster automatic is cool for you. A Breitling Super Ocean, good value. Stay away from quartz. Get the automatic Breitlings. They're quite cool. That's probably the two big brands I'd go to. $1,000, you know, that's not a lot of money, but I know that's a lot of money for a 16-year-old, and that's where I'd be placing it. I'd be staying away from Tag Heuers. I'd be staying away from no-name pieces of dog shit. But there you go. That's two recommendations. If you contact a good vintage watch dealer in your town, they should have those type of pieces for not much more than $1,000. So that's what I'd be buying myself there. So there we go. That's the advice for a 16-year-old. Now, obviously, my advice for a 16-year-old is different to a 45-year-old banking executive. But for you, I think that's a pretty good recommendation there. Okay, next viewer email, and this here comes in for Ragnar. Ragnar's the huge Jaeger-LeCoultre fan and collector. And he goes, "Dear Archie, I'm still a huge fan of your channel, and I'm happy to donate money to your causes all the time. I'm happy to tell you that I've now expanded my collection with a Reverso. My choice was a Grand GMT. I've never been so excited about a watch that I am for this. The 8-day power reserve is just fantastic. Both faces are beautiful. I received the watch with a steel bracelet, but I've also got an additional brown croc strap. With two faces, it gives me 4 options for appearance. The question now is where I will go now. I've looked at the Patek Nautilus with white dial, but for the same amount I can get a perpetual calendar from Jaeger-LeCoultre. It's a manual wind with an 8-day power reserve, a beauty. Another model that I have in my sight is the Duometer chronograph. It also has a price equal to the Patek. The selection of Patek is difficult because I always think I'm getting so much more money with Jaeger-LeCoultre. I just love the brand. All the best, Ragnar." And I gotta say, Ragnar, you got a fantastic collection, and I really don't think there's anything wrong with concentrating on Jaeger-LeCoultre. What a fantastic brand, and I gotta say to you, that's a great way to go. I'm Archie Luxury. And you've just been watching viewer emails. And please keep the mailbag coming. Keep the mailbag full. And I hope you enjoyed viewer emails. See you later.